Hello friends. Today I'm going to be doing just a uh, video journal, a vlog on why I decided to wear a mantilla. A mantilla is a church veil, um, and you don't see them. They're not quite common these days in church unless you are attending probably a more traditional, like a Latin mass. I've been thinking about wearing a mantilla for probably the last year. I have seen a few ladies and a few young women wearing a mantilla to mass, and I've always liked the idea. Whenever I've seen women wearing the mantilla, I just admire them for um, not just their beauty, but their humility, and um, they they certainly do stand out. To me personally, it's never been a distraction. It's always been more of a reminder um, of humility and modesty, and it's always, every time I've seen it, it's always just reminded me of um, my grandmother, great grandmother, and just something that is lost for the most part. Earlier in 2012, my daughter brought this mantilla. It's a triangular mantilla, and it's just a very simple white lace. So my reasons for finally making the decision, after doing a little bit of research, I found that first of all, it's scriptural. St. Paul mentions it in 1 Corinthians about women wearing a veil. That's just a little bit of information that kind of put me more at ease about wearing a mantilla. Making the decision to wear a mantilla is not something that I took very lightly. It was something that I took very seriously, and I feel I was feeling quite anxious about it actually. Today on our way to Mass, Sunday, the first Sunday of this year's Lenten season, I was feeling really nervous about it. I was describing to my husband that I felt like I was about to go down a roller coaster. You know, that when you go down that first drop, that's about the level of anxiety that I was feeling on our way to Mass. I didn't want to be a distraction. I was actually feeling really nervous, um, and I could definitely see where women that have taken the plunge, um, I have some insight now into um, those mixed feelings. At the same time, you want to express love and humility before our Lord during the sacrifice of the Mass. And at the same time, there's this concern that, one, you may be a distraction. Two, what will others think? And I know some people are going to say, well, who cares what other people think? But you know what? Sometimes I do. I don't think that, who doesn't sometimes care what other people think? Um, I think a lot of us at times are self-conscious for whatever reason. And today, my reason was that I was wearing a mantilla and nobody else was. My feeling during Mass, my feelings, because I went through I was in like an emotional wreck today at Mass. Initially, I noticed that some people were distracted by my appearance. As I walked into Mass, I noticed a few people looking in my direction, and one lady took a double take, and so that made me more nervous, and I had to keep reminding myself that I wasn't doing it for show or for what other people might think of me. I was doing it because I felt a calling. I felt like this is where I'm at in my spiritual journey, and this is how I could step it up a notch, and this was what I was going to do for Lent. Um, I I'd given up Facebook before. given up chocolate lots of times. Um, uh, and this year, there was really nothing for me to give up. Um, as far as material things, we've given up so many things throughout the year just because, we've been trying to live more simply. Um, I've cleaned out closets, given away clothes, given away toys, given away books, um, and so there's just not a whole lot um, at this time, that I felt like, well, you know, what's going to be meaningful this Lent? What can I offer rather than give up? Although as a family, me and the kids, we are fasting one meal a day, which is something different that we've never done. Um, we are having breakfast, we're having a very light snack for lunch, and we're having dinner. So we're fasting that lunchtime meal and just opting for a more simple meal. But really, uh, that's for, as that's what we're doing as a family. But for myself, wearing the mantilla to Sunday Mass and during personal private prayer and family prayer, I will be wearing my mantilla. And it's something that I hope to continue, not just during Lent, but um, for the rest of my life. I felt called to wearing a mantilla, just because, um, you know, who couldn't use a little more humility? Who couldn't use a little more modesty? I certainly can. And I desire to be more humble. I desire to be more modest. And I saw a YouTube video about why a woman would choose to veil during Mass and during prayer time. And one of the reasons is to be set apart, and that you're God's daughter. And for me, this is just my thing that I want to do for God. And documenting this part of my spiritual journey is probably a whole lot more for me than it is, for you. I share it because I feel like it's helping me to cope with my nervousness and my anxiety. Probably, the way I'm wired. I'm a woman. I want to talk about stuff. So for me, this is how I'm coping with it. So, anyways, so I expressed my feelings to my husband, and I kind of gave everybody a warning. Hey, Mama's gonna wear this on Sunday, so I'm sorry. I don't mean to embarrass you kids. If you're embarrassed or self-conscious about Mommy wearing this, but this is what I feel that I'm called to do at this time. But anyways, I've blabbed on enough. So this is going to be the first part in a series of how and why to wear a mantilla. I'm going to do a tutorial on how to wear church appropriate makeup, how to wear the mantilla, probably go over some scriptural stuff and some traditional stuff. Leaving your comments below for me would just be a huge help because I know nothing about this. So I'm so happy that I did this though, this Sunday, the first Sunday of Lent. I'm very, very happy. And I pray for the strength and the graces to continue. Have a great, great Lenten season.